Okay, so here we are on the league website. You can see I'm signed in. Not going to be any special intro for this video. These videos, all of my patch analysis videos are going to be a lot more formal. I mean, a lot more casual, I guess, is one word for it. You know, instead of a strict, highly educational video, it's just going to be more like me having a conversation with you guys, except you guys aren't going to talk back, and I'm just a crazy person talking alone into a microphone. But that's not the point. So, no intros. Every one of these, the only reason I'm saying this is because this is the first one, but it's just going to be me on the website, some music playing in the background. You don't even have to look at the screen if you want. If you just want to minimize this video or something, that's okay. You'll probably get more out of it if you look at the screen, but I'm just saying. It's just going to be me talking on the website. So, music is the Gold, Silver, and Crystal remix of the surfing theme by Poke Remix Studio. There'll be a link down below to this YouTube video. And we'll talk about the patch notes. So, as you saw by the title, and as you can see by the first line, if you've read these patch notes, Kha'zix is super strong right now. I don't think he's really overpowered. I don't think he's unbeatable. I don't think, you know, you must ban Kha'zix every game, but he is very good. If you're a Kha'zix fan, this is good news. You can play Kha'zix and expect to win most of your games. That's, you know, he's a good champion. I played him a lot, and you guys are actually going to see the why did I win for this week. It's going to be Kha'zix game. But, yeah. I'm pretty happy because I like Kha'zix a lot, and he was needing a little bit of buffs. They've been buffing him. It's not like this one patch they did a ton. It's like they've been buffing him every single patch, and now finally they buffed him, and when they changed Tiamat, it's enough to put Kha'zix over the edge. So anyways, Kha'zix is good. We'll talk more about him when we actually get to him and when we get to Tiamat. But first we can talk about Aurelion Sol. I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering if Aurelion Sol is any good in the jungle, if I'm going to make a jungle Aurelion Sol video. Somebody asked me that. He's not a jungler, guys. I know Dyrus and Nightblue 3, I know those two did. I don't know if anybody else did. I know they played jungle Aurelion on PBE a lot, but them playing on PBE is, I mean, they're literally challenger players, and they were playing with, you know, silvers and golds. That's what most of PBE is. So I don't care how well they did. It doesn't mean that Aurelion's that good in the jungle. The thing about Aurelion Sol is that he needs a lot of money. So he needs to get a Rylai's, he needs to get a Rod of Ages, he needs some movement speed, so you usually get Boots of Swiftness. The jungle item actually does give him some movement speed, so that's not too bad. And then at that point you just need damage. So you need all these things to make his kit work. And a general rule, and I've said this before, is junglers just don't get as much gold as laners. If you're in the lane, you get more gold. That's how it works. You get a lot more farm, and if a jungler ganks, oh look, you get half of the gold too. So it's kind of like Karthus. If you guys remember, a couple patches, or Season 4, I think it was, Karthus was actually a pretty popular jungle pick. Karthus can clear the jungle pretty well. His ganks aren't fantastic, but neither are Aurelion Sols. They're both about in the same boat, where they can clear the jungle well, but really jungling as them doesn't make sense, because they require so much gold. You're not going to be that impactful. And our music was not on auto replay, but now it is. So, no worries. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense to play him as a jungler. So I'm not going to probably make a jungle video unless if I'm just completely wrong and in a few days we start seeing jungle Aurelion everywhere, then I might do it. But as of now, he's just a mid laner in my opinion. Next, Alastar. They nerfed Alastar a little bit. He needed it. You know, he's been really dominant. Azir, bug fixes as usual. Cho'Gath, they actually buffed Cho'Gath. You don't usually jungle as Cho'Gath, but you could. Some people do. It's the same boat as Aurelion. You could jungle as him, but why would you when there's so much better picks? But I don't think this is gonna make. I don't think this broke Cho'Gath either. He's definitely better though. Yeah, they buffed Echo. I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering why I didn't jump straight to Echo. Let me tell you guys my opinion on the Echo buffs. So the Echo in-depth guide, which I'm sure every single person on this channel has seen, actually was made before they buffed Echo at all. And I was maining Echo then. He was my go-to. I had a high win rate. I was very good at him. And now they buffed Echo every single patch since then. And while that's a good, you know, it certainly helps us Echo players. The thing is, I don't want them to buff him so much that then they drastically nerf him. You know, I don't want Echo to bust out as overpowered, get banned all the time. I really liked where he was. at least as a jungler since. As a laner, he kind of sucked, and that's why they've been buffing him. They're trying to help him become a stronger burst mage laner, but I'm just worried that they're going to tweak him to where Tank Echo doesn't work or Jungle Echo isn't that good anymore, and I don't want them to do that. You know, I like where he is. So while buffs are cool, Echo has so much about him that I'm just worried that they're going to ruin him by buffing and then nerfing, because they do that a lot. This isn't just, you know, some weird phobia. They do that a ton, where a champion's good, they buff them, then they super nerf them, and then they're worse than they were before. So let's just cross our fingers and hope that Riot doesn't go too far with Echo. But as far as the buff, this is a really big buff, the passive, because, I mean, just more movement speed at all levels. It's good. Well, it's all levels except for when it caps out, but 80% is a ton of movement speed anyways, and even 70 and 60% are quite a lot. So this is definitely a big buff. And then your E, the cooldown goes down. That helps you jungle a little bit, use your E occasionally, but it doesn't really affect Jungle Echo that much, because you're only going to use your E once when you gank anyways. And then late game, it has the same CDR. So these aren't really, like I said, they're really laner changes. They're not that much about Jungle Echo, but any buff helps him, so he is better now, but he's not like overpowered or anything. I hope. I don't think he is. I can't really tell. I'm extremely biased when it comes to Echo, because you guys have seen my Echo gameplays. I don't have bad Echo games. If I have a bad Echo game, it's because I was trolling intentionally, or I get DCs on my team or something. If I want to play Echo and do well, I always do very well. So it's hard for me to say how well Echo's doing, just because I'm so freaking good at him. Sorry, that sounds really conceited, but there's plenty of proof on my channel. There's plenty of proof that I'm the Echo guy and I'm great at him. Fiora, passive deals less damage, skills higher early, E slow and range down. You know, they nerfed Fiora, but was it? No. Maybe this will fix her. Sorry, I was thinking of a video, but that video was recorded, and it wasn't my video. It was Dyrus's video? Yeah, Dyrus's video. Anyways, Fiora is so stupid. I really hope that this nerf makes her to where she can't just always win her lane. Even if you, like, gank a Fiora, she still wins 1v1s all the time. They made her true damage go down, and the ratio went up. Okay, that's annoying. And so that's not really even a nerf. It's like a tweak. That's what I call those. And the slow went way down, and the bonus range went down. So yeah, it's a little bit of nerf. I'm always happy for Fiora nerfs. I don't like Fiora as a champion. I think it's really stupid that a champion can get totally crushed in lane and camped by a jungler. But if you leave them alone with anyone, they're still going to beat them. That's kind of what Fiora is right now. So happy to see nerfs. Janna nerfs, also super happy for AIDS being nerfed. E bonus damage and R disable time down. Okay, so the knockback, I guess, is a little bit less for this. Or does it have a disable after the knockback? I don't know how Janna works. I don't support that much. And then the attack damage on shield went down. That was needed because Janna laning is super strong. That's good. I like that. Jace got a buff. This isn't going to fix Jace. Jace is kind of like okay right now, and this didn't make him overpowered or anything. If you like playing Jace, basically you can. That's the kind of place he's in. He's not great, but he's not bad either. Kalista, less attack speed. Okay, I didn't think Kalista was really broken, but they really nerfed her a while. This is a really strong nerf, so I know most of you guys are junglers, but don't play Kalista, I'd say. This is a big nerf. This, and then the attack speed change, and then R range down. I mean, they nerfed everything. They didn't give her anything good in all this, so it's a big nerf. Karma, slight buff. Karma's a champion that you'll win lane as Karma if you play her, but after lane, you know, what are you gonna do? She's a support. Even if you lane mid as Karma and you crush your lane, when you get to late game, you're a support champion. So that's how I feel about Karma. Kha'zix, Q cooldown down. If you get 45% CDR, this is a crazy low cooldown. Actually, I'm gonna pull a calculator up on well, we'll just do it on Google Chrome because I have it right here. 0.45 times 3. No. Wait. Sorry. Should be 0.55 times 3, right? Yeah, so 1.65 second cooldown. Maybe. maybe I'm just spewing this. Okay. If I have built 45% CDR. I don't actually recommend it, and we'll talk a lot more about Kha'zix in my Kha'zix Why Did I Win? But this is a large buff. Even though it's only half a second, when it's half a second on such a small cooldown, that makes the half a second mean more, if that makes sense. Like, for example, Echo's E, let's see where it's at. Where did they nerfed it by 2 seconds. I mean, they didn't nerf it. They lowered it by 2 seconds. You know, half a second from 13 wouldn't have been anything. But then down here on Kha'zix, it's a really big buff because it's a smaller cooldown overall. And then W is also down. This helps his clearing a lot early, which he actually needed. This is really good. The W doesn't make him do a ton of damage. The Q does. He's good. He's definitely good right now. And like I said, we'll talk more about him if you watch the Why Did I Win. W's ability power ratio and ally duration decreased. They nerfed Lulu. That's good. Lulu's kind of like a better Karma. She doesn't lose lane, and late game she's a really good support. Karma's like a weaker. They're about the same. Lux gives you more benefits if you've been double hit, but less shield on single hits. That's nice. This helps because when you're ganking a Lux, she won't just get to throw out W and get as much of a huge shield. That's what they're saying. She needs the whole thing for it to be a really big shield. Missile now slower on the way out, faster back in. Yeah, this is actually really good for us as junglers. As a Lux player, it's a little bit of a nerf, so sorry if you played Lux. Maokai. Oh yeah, they buffed Maokai. Another one of my favorite champions. I did read about this. This is really a laner focused buff. I won't talk much about this. They buffed his base magic resist and they gave him a magic resist growth stat. So obviously versus AP champions he's a lot stronger, and he was always good versus AP champions because his whole kit revolves around enemy spellcasts near you give you your pass. Well, all spellcasts, but you know, he punishes people for casting spells, so he's always been good versus AP champions. But then this is really a laner buff. It kind of affects Jungle Maokai because you do start with your E at level 1, so now you can place it instead of at 121, you would place this at 116 now. If you guys jungle Maokai, I haven't really jungled him because he's we'll talk about that after I finish talking about this. So it changes his level 1 a little bit, and then this of course does affect him, but it doesn't really. Like, what this says to me is that while you're laning, you get kind of free wards because you have your E. You can just throw your E in bushes and they'll stay there for a really long time, a minute at max rank. As far as the jungle goes, like I said, it doesn't make that much a difference, but then late game, it will make a difference. So, I mean, it's a buff. Like I said about the Echo buffs, buffs are buffs and they make the champion better, but I don't think all this buff really did was this means that he crushes AP lane. So Lissandra top or maybe even mid against some AP champions, he just crushes them. Really a laner buff. Now about Maokai and as a build for Maokai, right now you have to play a champion that deals damage or at least build damage on them. So full tank Maokai doesn't really work. It works in rare cases, but overall you would have a lot more success if you went a damage route. So Maokai, I would go Strength of the Ages, go Runic Echoes, and then build mostly tank from there, getting Gauntlets as well. Count that as a tank item. That way you'll do a good bit of damage and you'll have a good bit of health. You could also still go Grasp and go a full tank route, but like I said, you're just not going to do that much damage. You could also go Grasp and then build Cinderhulk, Rylai's, and Liandry's, and then build tank items after that, but that build's really expensive. And on Maokai, you're probably not going to get it. So, overall, like I said, I think a bruiser build on Maokai is the best right now. I don't really like playing him like that, and he's not super good at it either. So, I don't think he's that great in the jungle, but I still love Maokai. If you guys want, you know, comment about it, and I can get you a Maokai gameplay pretty soon. Master Yi, base damage up, but ratio moved entirely to bonus attack damage. Did they take away his true damage? I read this earlier. No, they did not. Okay, so they made it to where this scales, instead of his total attack damage, it's bonus attack damage. It's a higher scaling, so theoretically, if it's a full damage Master Yi, this is a buff. But realistically, you're not going to get away with building full damage Master Yi unless if you had pretty much already won the game anyways, and it wouldn't matter. So, it's kind of a nerf. It's probably a nerf for most of the tank Master Yi builds that you see where they go like Devour, Rage Blade, Titanic Hydra. This is a nerf to that. And then the base damage, obviously, it went up, so it's still a nerf. It's a nerf to straight on hit Master Yi, but it's a buff to damage Master Yi. That's the easiest way to put it. They super nerfed Nidalee, which you know, I'm fine with. You guys might have saw the Nidalee Why Did I Lose? Not really a Nidalee player. I tried it a lot. I tried it so much, but I've won like 2 and lost almost double digits games on Nidalee. It's awful. It's not that I did that bad every game. I actually had pretty good scores in most of my game, but I just don't know how to play Nidalee and win games with her. So I'm fine with this. They made it to where you're going to have a really hard time kiting camps. That's what this does. You still can, but before Nidalee just had it made. Her clearing was super easy, super quick, so that's why they did this. You'll still be able to clear. It's not like now just because you can't root them, all that means is that you have to kite them a lot. Kiting is going to take a lot longer, is what I should say. So she'll still be able to jungle, and then Fury Swipes no longer resets Nidalee's basic attack. I'm fine with that because Nidalee had, well, she had W, she had Q, and her ult. All reset her auto attacks, and her W used to, so she had like 4 auto resets on one champion. That's ridiculous. So they removed one of them. That's cool with me. And then the base damage, they went up at early ranks. They probably did this just to help her clearing because of this. So I don't think that this is a really significant buff. I think it's just going to make it to where she can actually clear, because this is a big deal. So Nidalee, huge nerf overall for Nidalee. Orianna, Q, mana cost down at early ranks, neat. Orianna, I feel like she's a team ranked environment, you know, like LCS. I think Orianna's always viable, and, you know, high level 5v5s, but solo Q, who cares? Quinn, duration reduced and cooldown increased, so a straight nerf on Quinn. Somebody actually asked for a Quinn gameplay, but I don't think they had seen the Quinn preseason. I don't think Quinn's that great as a jungler right now. I wouldn't recommend her. If you want an ADC jungler, Kindred and Graves are both good. I suck at Graves, but Kindred's really good. Quinn's okay, but obviously this is a nerf, so a nerf is a nerf. It's not that bad though. It's really not that bad for jungle Quinn, because it's like I said about the Echo E, you're going to use it once per gank. So even if the cooldown's a little bit up and the duration's down, she's still okay in the jungle. I just wouldn't recommend her. Chavannes, Q scaling reduced at early levels. This is a lot of text. I'm not going to read about that. I'd rather just read this. The ratio went down at early levels. She needed that. What this means is that it's a lot better to max Q than it was before, because you need to get it to, you know, decent numbers pretty quickly. Because rank 4 is the same as what rank 2 and almost what rank 1 was before. So this, if you guys have seen my live Shyvana gameplay, I'd probably max Q more often than not, just because it doesn't do much damage at all if you don't max it. I would have to play her, and I don't really feel like playing her, and I haven't played her yet, so I can't tell you right this second, but just based on these numbers, it looks to me like you need to max Q second now. W first, Q second, and then E last. And before I was doing W first, E second, and Q last. Just because it's pretty pathetic if you don't get it to these numbers pretty quickly, so. Twisted Fate, they had this thing where they disabled his skin for a while because you couldn't read it or some crap. Who cares? Less damage on proc. This is actually a pretty big nerf to Runic Echoes. I didn't think that Runic Echoes was really dominant. What I saw with Runic Echoes is that a lot of champions who would sometimes build tank would instead build Runic Echoes, and that's still the case because no matter, well, I mean, if they lowered this by another 20, it might change, but this doesn't make Cinderhulk do more damage. You know, people still need to get Runic Echoes because it's the damage route, and if you don't do damage, you're not good. So what I think they should do is put this back to 80, and then just buff Cinderhulk and make Cinderhulk do a little bit more damage and make tanks more viable, because tanks aren't really viable. You have to go damage builds, and I get frustrated with it because I love playing tanks, and I love I mean, that's what my Echo build is. Whenever I can play a tank, I would rather play a tank, pretty much. So overall, I think they should revert this and move it to a buff on Cinderhulk, but they're probably not going to do that. This doesn't affect AP junglers that much because their scaling is still going to be, their bonus scaling is still going to be a lot. But see, this is exactly. This is exactly what I said. I hadn't even read this, but they're making it to where tanks, they're trying to dissuade tanks from building it and build Cinderhulk, but that's not the way they should do this. They should buff Cinderhulk. But anyways, whatever. Don't really like this. Doesn't affect me because I don't build Runic Echoes. I don't even build it on Echo. If you do build it on Echo, it's a lot weaker if you're going for this and then all tank items. If you do want this, I'd probably recommend getting at least one other AP item, and that'll make up for it. Tiamat. This was a big buff to Tiamat. The attack damage went down, but they gave it back its cleave, so it's a really good item again. This is actually a really big buff to Kha'zix. This is another one that buffs to Kha'zix, and that's why he's really good. And it's also a buff to Rengar, so if you guys like playing Rengar, pick him back up. A build on Kha'zix and Rengar, both of them, if you saw my preseason videos for them, I didn't recommend building Tiamat at all early because it sucked, but now it's good. So it's back to what you would do through most of Season 5. You build Warrior first, and then you get your boots, and then you rush Tiamat into Hydra, and then build Armor Pin from there. So pretty straightforward. They fixed Tiamat. Tiamat's a good item again. It was just so stupid without this on junglers. Laners maybe, but junglers, it just... they need this, especially Kha'zix, because what this does for Kha'zix is it makes it to where the jungle camps are going to get isolated a lot more, and that's going to save you a lot of mana, and then that's going to let you gank more often. See, Rengar, he doesn't use mana, so it's not that big a deal whether you spam your spells or not, but it is a big buff for both of them. So, play the Assassin Brothers, Double Hunter Brother Jungle, Double Hunter Brother, Plinta Pentakill Swagger. That's the name of like the first video I ever uploaded. If you haven't seen it, go. It's some stupid montage, but that's Kha'zix and Rengar. They're the Double Hunter Brother, Plinta Pentakill Swagger brothers. And then Ravenous Hydra, they kind of reworked how you build it. Basically, they took Pickaxe away from here, so they threw it onto Ravenous Hydra. This is a lie. They're just doing this to cover their tracks. They just kind of switched the build path. And then they nerfed Titanic Hydra. This is another nerf for Chavannes. Chavannes is going to be a lot more able to deal with than she was last patch, but she's still probably really good. Oh yeah, and then they nerfed Zz'Rot. Thank you. I've been tired of Zz'Rot being the most dominant item in the game. They made Void Gate health go down to 5. I do like this because it was really weird. I guess it technically was a structure, so it made sense, but now it has 5 hits until it's dead, instead of, like, depending on how much damage you do, it could be 2 hits, or it could be a ton of hits if you're a tank. So I do like this. This benefits your enemies. This, they nerfed it back to where it was. It's still a good, if you need dual resistances, it's still a good resistance item. And then, blah blah blah. Basic attacks deal 1 damage to the Void Gate. Void Gate's health will regenerate after being... Oh, so it regens health. Okay, that's pretty cool. And now it has a distinctive map. Okay, so, like I said, this just makes it a little bit easier to get rid of a Zz'Rot portal. It's still a good defensive item, but it removed a lot of its offensive strength, which is good because it was really annoying. Zz'Rot has been a very dominant item these past couple of patches, so I'm glad they nerfed it. Hextech Crafting. I'll give you my opinion on Hextech Crafting. I think it's really stupid. I mean, you know, you can't complain about it though. I'm not complaining. Don't take that, because it's Riot giving us free skins, and any company that makes... So, this is how Riot makes money. You guys know. I mean, they have ads on their websites, ads on their YouTube, but most of their money is from RP, and that's how they got started and got so big. And now that the fact that they're giving us skins for free, you know, you have to respect Riot for that. But the system is just kind of silly. You only get chests like every 3 days or something, and that's only if you get an S on the champion, and you're really only going to get S's on champions on your mains, and it's not going to happen that often. Whatever. Long story short, I respect Riot for doing this and giving a free skin system, but practically, don't think that you're going to get all the skins that you want because of Hextech Crafting. They're just doing it because people have been bugging them about it for literally ever. And I never thought they were going to do it because it's their moneymaker, but here it is. So, there you go, and that's my opinion on it. And, let's see, that's about it. The Aurelion Soul skin, I don't think too much about it. It's, let's look, can we look at a picture of it? It's kind of cool. I mean, it's one of those classic, you know, fire skins. there's a lot of skins that are just like, oh, this champion now has fire. So I don't think it's that cool, but whatever. That's how we're going to finish the video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I learned a lot. I hope I provided some insight on the patch in case you were confused about some things. If you have any more questions about this patch at all, or any patch, you know, item stuff, this would be the video to ask about it. If you just have a question about certain things in general, ask it here. And if you have any tips, if you think I spent too long talking about it, if you don't want me to just read through it, if you want me to just focus on points, you know, I could even do that in front of gameplay. I don't want to do that because I'm really lazy and that takes a lot of work, but give me your opinions, give me some feedback. This is the first episode of this series, so I'd like to know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.